As a man is born,
so shall he die, which means something must kill a man.
Sometimes it is in terms of notes, coins, or account balance.
Something must kill a man. Sometimes it is brewed or triple distilled and matured for 18 years. Something must kill a man.
Sometimes it is a crack. And not just any crack, no. Wet, warm, and slippery.
Something must kill a man. Sometimes a man just wants to cross the road, then is hit by a Nissan Duke and dies of embarrassment. Something must kill a man.
Sometimes a man goes to bed, wakes up in the morning and finds himself dead.
Something must kill a man. In this spirit we bring you the story of Omwami, a man who believed that if we die, we die. After all, something must kill a man. Ladies and gentlemen, but to put this story into perspective, we must take you back to 2012. That year.
Our village had been plastered on the map of Kenya.
We had produced an academic giant,
a man, a legend,
and everything that comes with it. Oh, you know.
Now, this is the story of Omwami, son of his mother,
confident of his father,
and an academic giant of our time. Omwami, son of Mzee Baraza Omaina, was a very bright man who hailed from our village of Sirakaru. The man had scored straight A's, something that attracted all the major news outlets in the country.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone was gathered at Mzee Omaina's homestead from all the corners of the combined villages of City Hall and Sirakaru, just to have a glimpse of an academic giant.
My Petronilla, Mzee Baraza Omaina's first wife, was all radiant. She was fully proud of her son. She was fully proud of her bouncing baby boy. She was the envy of all the women in the village. Time and again during the celebration, they would exchange knowing glances and nod in synchrony. They had made it.
It was through her wise words and counsel that Omwami had come this far.
Mzee Baraza Omaina, on the other hand, was fully proud of his son. He wanted everyone to know that that was his son Omwami, named after his grandfather Omwami, who was named after his great-grandfather Omwami, who was named after his great-great-grandfather who?
Omwami. Now, to cement his friend in the village, he paraded his 5 wives and a multitude of children who possessed his triangle head.
Mzee Baraza Omaina was a polygamous man and he was proud of it. The man was married to 5 wives, those that we know, and a multitude of children that he had refused completely to count, retorting that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we doubt that he knew his children, all of them by name.
For those of you who grew up in polygamous families, especially those from Luya, you will agree with me that wives back there are always in a reproduction tiki-taka. Yani, shika mimba, nishike.
Things in these homesteads are like relay.
Children here are a perfect representation of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
ladies and gentlemen, I know some of you dropped physics at Form 2, but I am assuring you, if those children are put along an X and Y axis, you will get a line of linear progression.
For this particular reason, children in Mzee Barasa or Maina were born in very close succession, with a very narrow gap of weeks, days, and sometimes hours.
This was used as a motivation when 3 or 4 wives went to labor together. Midwives will be hard telling a woman, hey, push faster so that yours is counted as the elder one.
Now,
you know the elder one gets the bigger share of the land, right?
Now this complicated the naming system completely, because where we come from, children are named after seasons, ancestors, and sometimes insects.
This is how you will find 4 or more children in one homestead, born at the same time, of different mothers, same father, but of the same age, with the same or similar names.
For example, in Mzee Barasa or Maina's homestead, there were 4 children born in the locust disaster season of 1992, when everyone was naming their children Wasike.
Now, if your child was not named Wasike, villagers will say that you are seeing yourself.
Now, for this reason, there had to exist a dichotomous key that included the mother and some very obvious features of the body to categorize these children as number 1,
Wasike wa mama mkubwa.
number 2, Wasike Matokupwa,
Number 3,
Wasike Kigugumezi,
and number 4,
Wasike wa Mama Mdogo.
Now, in the academic space is where all the chaos were.
Imagine having 4 children with the same name and surname. For example, Wasike Baraza. Now, you go and call out the noisemakers list, and the name Wasike Baraza will get you 4 identical kids with the same accent, each asking you, "I ni mimi."
Ladies and gentlemen, now on the academic parade is where the violence was. Ladies and gentlemen, there was almost always a situation where Wasike wa mama mkubwa was a bright guy, talented and gifted. Then Wasike wa mama mdogo was a little bit too shy when it came to exams. In such a way that there will be a Wasike Barasa leading from the front, then another Wasike Barasa leading from behind. Now you, the principal, on the academic parade, Mzee Barasa Omaina seated there with all the wives involved. Then you call number 1 Wasike Barasa. Then you go. Number last, Wasike Barasa. Each of the wives involved rises up and claims that the Wasike Barasa that is number 1 is theirs.
Things become messy, noisy, and sometimes with casualties.
Ladies and gentlemen, though, as much as these polygamy stories might sound fun, for my Petronila Omwami's mother, they presented torture and untold suffering.
You see, ever since Mzee Baraza Omaina married those other women, he had completely forgotten about her. In fact, she had to work very hard, toil to fend for her family and school them while at it.
Ladies and gentlemen, all Mzee Barasa Omaina did was walk around in the Busa and the Changandens, bragging how his balls had contributed to the population of the district.
That is how Omwami had to spend the rest of his night in the kitchen, sharing beddings with 10 of his other siblings, together with cows, chicken, dogs, and goats.
Now imagine this, 11 children, a whole football team sharing a mattress on the kitchen floor. All of them, 1 mattress, 1 blanket, in such a way that my Petronila had to ensure that those ones catching the blanks had no beef. Because 1 wrong turn would mean that the whole family is uncovered. Now you have control, alt, delete, all children wake up, sleep again, be covered. The gist of the story now, there was this middle child, Beki wa kupanda na kushuka,
Kiungo wakati,
creative midfielder, a man who had specialized in wetting the bed. You will wet one side, take a 2-hour break, and wet the other side. In the morning at school, the whole family will be smelling urine, because soap for showering was also a luxury.
Another luxury, ladies and gentlemen, was school uniform. You see, it was so much of a luxury that before you join class 1, they have to predict your size in class 8. Such that they make you a school uniform that will serve you all your primary school days. And if at all you to crew such a uniform, it will be passed down to your sibling for you to serve him another 8 years of primary school.
They operated on the principle of if it is not torn, it can be worn. After all, unataka fundi wa nguo akude wapi?
Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes it will be too torn, but they have to wear a torn school uniform.
For this reason, my Petronilla made Omwami promise that whatever he does, now or in the future, whether he will be successful or not, whether rich or poor, he made him promise that he will never ever date multiple women or marry more than one wife. Now, Omwami had all the intentions of following up this promise and keeping it because he had suffered the brunt of polygamy and he did not wish it even on his worst enemy.
Mzee Baraza Umaina, on the other hand, had other ideas. He summoned his son and told him, my son, whatever happens, whether rich or poor, never marry just one wife. As a man, you must have options.
Yes, you must have options. Otherwise, you will go to heaven and God asks you, I gave you a two. Did you use it? But then Omwami was not going to follow the advice of his oppressor, a man who had put him in problems. So he had all the intentions of finding one girl,
loving her,
marry her,
cherishing her,
give her good things in life,
giving her all the nice things,
show
of this
her
world,
comfort,
show her the life of this world,
serve her a good trip,
until now, back to the celebration. After enjoying the limelight and of course speaking to journalists here and there, demolishing a whole chicken alone, Omwami discovered that he was missing something.
Something was missing that he quite couldn't place his finger on.
He was missing something that was messing with his heart.
He was missing something that was messing with his blood flow.
He was missing something that was messing with his soul.
This girl that was giving Omwami sleepless nights.
This was a girl with whom Omwami had gone to spend the nights gazing at the sky, counting the stars, smiling at the moon. They even had their favorite special place at the riverbanks where they went to meet, hug, kiss, and cuddle.
This was his first love.
His bae,
His baby boo.
his boo,
Abuyu.
darling, Angela.
Oh, Nanjale pigo yange. Ah, Nanjale pigo yange. Ah, Nanjale pigo yange.
Omwami set out to find Nanjala, the love of his life, to know why she had not attended his graduation ceremony, why she had not attended this ceremony where people were celebrating the latest champion of academics in the village. He crossed the path that separated the two homesteads, theirs and that of Nanjala's, crossed there, went, met his future mother-in-law, and decided to find where Nanjala is.
His future mother-in-law, Nanjala's mother, explained to him that Nanjala had gone to the river to fetch water. Now, you remember that spot of theirs near the river? So all this time, this girl had not attended the celebration because she was preparing a special celebration by the river.
Ladies and gentlemen, with this, the man politely declined the future mother-in-law's tea and zoomed off to go and find Nanjala. As he walked to the riverbanks, he was whistling his favorite tune, imagining all the good things he was going to do to Nanjala, all the hugs, all the kisses.
She was going to bombard this girl with the romance she had never seen. We were going to know that he was not only a power to reckon with in academics, also in matters of romance. He was top.
Is this girl aware of the kind of hugs and kisses that Omwami was preparing to afford her? ends will be in synchrony.
When he was heading to the river, just near the spot, he saw a strange phenomenon. Vegetation was shaking overhead strangely.
No,
what could be this?
No, Paulette, are you familiar with this phenomenon where a cassava stem shakes as if a mole is eating it from the root? Are you? Now, this has nothing to do with cassavas and moles.
Out of curiosity, Omwami moved closer. This time, he could hear a scream, and it sounded like his baby boo, his bae, Nanjala.
And she was crying, she was expressing pain. Mommy could not take it.
A strong male black bulky figure struggling his baby boo, Nanjala. Nanjala on the other side, on the other hand, was holding on a tree, crying her lungs out.
How dare he?
How dare this man?
In this time and age.
Gender-based violence.
Who has the guts?
Who has the temerity?
Who has the nerve?
The audacity.
To do this to an innocent, small, young, church girl.
Ish, using all his strength, Omwami pounced on the man and tried to pull him away so that he sees the face of this shameless oppressor.
But then it seemed like the more he tried to pull the man away from Nanjala,
the more Nanjala tried to pull the man back.
No, it became a tug of war.
Omwami pulling the man away.
Nanjala pulling the man back.
The Omwami pulling the man away.
Nanjala pulling the man back.
He mastered his strength as a man, and 1, 2, 3, he pulled the man away. That is when he realized it was Wambilianga, aka Wams, his father's shamba boy. And from how he was looking, Omwami realized what was actually happening here. When he thought he was saving an innocent young girl from gender-based violence or sexual abuse, he was actually interfering with an intense Gear 3 biological process.
The two of them looked at him in disgust. They were not happy that he could not let their volcanoes erupt.
The horror of Omwami's life flashed upon his eyes. Here was Nanjala, his lover, his baby boo, a girl who had taken a vow of abstinence with Wambilianga, aka Wambi, aka Wams, his father's shamba boy, doing natural acts
at their favorite place.
To add insult to injury, Nanjala just looked at him, sized him from toe to head to toe, then wore her panty, zoomed off.
Now, for those of you who have not gotten the perspective of this story, let us give you another perspective. You see, Wambilianga, aka Wambi, aka Wams, was Mzee Baraza Omaina's most trusted handyman.
This man was like family.
He did all kinds of jobs, ranging from fetching firewood, washing goats, washing the compound, splitting firewood.
And now Omwami had just found out that he had the additional duties of splitting. Now, I know up here you are asking yourself, how a girl can substitute an academic giant, a man whose future was so bright that villagers were going blind, with an illiterate shamba boy. But that means you don't understand the dynamics of village romance.
The dynamics of village romance are controlled by 3 main factors. In fact, you can say the 3 main factors affecting village romance. Factor number 1
is time. Village women, village damsels, village curies, village shories. They like attention. They like attention here, attention there, attention everywhere. But then, Omwami had buried himself in books in a bid to save his mother from the brand of polygamy. He was not there. Wambilianga, aka Wambi, aka Wams on the other side, finished his assignments at 12 noon. From 12 up to tomorrow 7, he was for it. Now, who was winning here?
Now, factor number 2. Money factor. No, in as much as Wambilianga, aka Wambi, aka Wams, was an illiterate man, he was a man with a job. He had a monthly salary. That means he could afford things that a mere high school boy could only dream of.
I mean, this is a man whom once in a month, during those important days, he could send care packages. This is a man who could afford geisha bathing soap, then put in Bint El Sudan petroleum jelly, then put in Cobra body spray, then put in a maxi dress, and finish the package with sandal shoes. Up to here, does a woman stand a chance?
This was a man who could afford to take your girlfriend on a date at Sunset Bar Hotel and Restaurant, a place for people with some coins to spare.
Those of us from the combined villages of City Hall and Serakayo know very well that if a man takes your girlfriend to Sunset Hotel, Bar and Restaurant, then bamboozles her with a cold 500 ml Fanta, my friend, you are single.
Sunset Hotel, Bar and Restaurant was a very unique place in our village. In fact, it was so economical and its menu was very different from these other restaurants.
This was a place where people with Navio hang out. When you enter Sunset Hotel, Bar and Restaurant, on their menu hung there, you will see different things. While other kibandas and hotels served andazi, Sunset Hotel, Bar and Restaurant served mahamri.
While other hotels, bar and restaurants served githeri, which was just maize, beans, sticks, stones, a light soup that you can see through, served with an attitude. Sunset Hotel, Bar and Restaurant, they served githeri special. Githeri special was well cooked, well fried, with a heavy soup, 2 Irish potatoes, an avocado, and guacamole. And it was always served by a brown lady.
Ladies and gentlemen, while other hotels, you will walk into the hotel and the menu on the wall reads chai. At Sunset Hotel, Bar and Restaurant, the menu read African tea. This was a tea that was short. While other restaurants prepared tea by putting water, then some milk, at Sunset Hotel, Bar and Restaurant, they put milk, then some water. While at other restaurants, the cook would stand at a distance, then measure sugar using his pan, then throw it in the tea in such a way that it was from far. At Sunset Hotel, Bar and Restaurant, they gave you sugar, you put in for yourself. My friend, you walk with the change. Ladies and gentlemen, also, while other people were serving mchele, which was a 3rd grade broken rice, warmed and eaten in some water, then served to you with an attitude. At Sunset Hotel, Bar and Restaurant, they served wali. Rice of Pishori Basmati essence, cooked using a recipe, then served on bakuli za wageni with bean stew or goat stew. And if you had connections, my friend, you would access pilau.
Now, I know to some of you, pilau is just a normal meal, but where we come from, pilau is very special. In fact, pilau was so special, we had to import an Arab guy from Bungoma to come and prepare it in the village. Pilau was so special that it was cooked only once every week, just once on Friday. And to get pilau, you have to book it in advance. Yani that means 4 days prior on Friday. And you must have connections.
Now, competing against a man who could foot a bill at Sunset Hotel, Bar and Restaurant, do you think Omani had a chance? Now, let us tell you the third one.
Now, the third factor, we don't know if you can call it a deformity or a disability.
Let us call it a deformity. A few years ago, when Wambilianga was new to the village, people showering with him at River Kibis reported that the man had some sort of deformity.
You see, the man was well endowed horizontally. And then somewhere along the road, somewhere along the road, there came a 60-degree diversion to the left.
Now, to hold this diversion together, there was a heavy presence of veins. Now, up to here, if you don't get it, ever since this news came out, women have been following Wambi, aka Wambilianga, aka Wams, everywhere, giving her goodies for philanthropic purposes. It was likely that Nanjala was part of these philanthropic efforts to make Wambilianga, aka Wambi, aka Wams, feel accepted in the society. Maybe she was on a mission of inclusivity. Up to here again, if you don't get it,
forget about it. Now, Omami did not want this shameful episode to come out. I mean, this will just tarnish his name as an academic judge of our time. So he decided to swallow red pill and just give up.
Okay, something must kill a man. Yes. But not being Nanjala's boyfriend has not killed anyone so far. Yeah. And if it does, if we die, we die. After all, something must kill a man.
Hey.
He then remembered the words of Mwalimu Mahapila back in high school.
Mwalimu Mahapila, his class teacher, had told Omwami that all the beautiful women of this world are found in the university.
They are found where?
In the university.
And Omwami had qualified to go where?
To the university. A place in Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, JKUA, in the coveted College of Engineering.
And when Omwami arrived at the proverbial Junior Boys, he did not see any boys. All over the university was just women. You look this way, women. You look that way, women. Even security people at the gate were women. He took a minute and called Mwalimu Mahapila and told him, Mwalimu, I konga.
University ladies were beautiful and they were everywhere. Looking on his right, Omwami saw a very beautiful lady. Looking at her smile, the man was confused. And then looking at her eyes, he got lost into her eyes, trying to find his way into her heart. What? She had matched the color of her eyes to the color of her nails, to the color of her purse, to the color of her outfit, to the color of her wig, to the color of her shoes. This lady looked like an angel. Before you could take in that beautiful sight, he saw another beautiful lady. What is this place? And this one was like nothing he had ever seen before. She strutted like a peacock, and whatever she was carrying behind there could be seen right from in front here.
But Julius was Joseph. Omwami saw scores and scores and scores of women, but none of them played the strings of his heart like Julieta. And she had a complexion just above maji ya kunde.
Eyes, ladies and gentlemen, they were macho ya kikombe, and her hair, her natural hair was nywele ya singa. This lady was so beautiful, ameumbwa akaumbika. In fact, ukiona vyaelea, jua ni Juliet. Julieta, uko wapi? Julieta, uko wapi? Now, we are in the culture of giving credit where it's due. We must tell you, ladies and gentlemen, Omwami did not work very hard to get Julieta.
The man did not do anything to get Julieta. In fact, it was as if his Luya ancestors were just rewarding him for joining Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. This one, he got it on a silver platter.
It all started back in campus on the first day of lecture, as the man was busy trying to grasp IBE 101, Introduction to Basic Engineering.
As the lecturer was disseminating equations on the board, 10 minutes into the lecture, Omwami did not know that besides him, there was an empty seat. Another 10 minutes into the lecture, he felt a soft hand tapping his shoulder. And when he looked up, he saw the most angelic face he has ever seen in his life. A girl with a beautiful smile, with a bewitching gap between her teeth. Smiling down upon him, the man froze. Now the lady broke the ice by asking, kuna mtu kwa hii kiti? Now any of you who has ever gone to an institution of higher learning, you know there is no pickup line more epic than kuna mtu kwa hii kiti.
I know some of you can try to compare it with the legendary Nasiufunge Mlango Kwanza, but ladies and gentlemen, can you compare anything to this pickup line?
This was the start of a legendary relationship that broke all records and all boundaries of campus romance.
Omwami and Juliet were inseparable. They did everything together. Went to school together, library together, morning runs together, to eat together, cake dance together, showered in a bid to save on water.
Ladies and gentlemen, this couple will be seen at the kibanda feeding each other chapumaduri. And they were cups people. Now when they go for cups, they call for 1 black, 2 straws.
Juliet was an expert launderer. She made sure that Omwami's clothes were clean, well pressed, and in good condition. Omwami, on the other side, made sure that Juliet did her assignments on time and they were delivered before deadline.
And Juliet put their social media game tops. She wanted everyone to know that they were a couple. Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook. In fact, with the inspiration of the Murayas, they were Judas family and the Kabus. They started a YouTube.
And Omwami took very nice photos of Juliet from all possible angles. He wanted to show his mother that he had bagged a big one.
In fact, he would have liked to take Juliet to Siraka and walk with her in the market on the market day to show the villagers that he had not gone to Nairobi only to study. He had also bagged himself a good one. But Juliet's uncle who lived in Kasarani was what we call a Mulay. He insisted that Juliet must stay in the city for the short holiday. Anyway, Omwami was raised to respect his elders. He respected the uncle's wish.
When Omwami reached the village, the man was welcomed with the band as they wanted to play the beautiful music to welcome the academic hero who had gone to the university and is back on short holidays.
On the path home, villagers would give him way, then greet him with a slight bow for a respected academician.
Omwami on his path walked with a slight slant, as if to signify that he was carrying the future of the village on his shoulders.
Ladies and gentlemen, Omwami had changed his accent. Instead of the usual the man had graduated to what up, fam?
What up, dog? When Omwami arrived at his father's homestead, he realized that the place was empty. But this could be understandable because, you know, it is the wedding season. All of a sudden, 2 figures dashed across the compound. If you are not keen enough, you would confuse them with these dwarf devils called Rimakombe. Upon dashing back, Mommy realized that they had a striking and resounding resemblance to Wambilianga aka Wambi aka Wams.
At that very moment, Wambilianga aka Wambi aka Wams appeared from the shamba, carrying his game, and looked at Omwami's bewilderment. That was when he called, "Junior, boy, come greet your uncle from Nairobi." So these two Wawambilianga as children. I'm proud of you, fam.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Now, Wambilianga aka Wambi aka Wams went ahead and explained to Omani and told him that those two were his first documented kids. The first one was called Oi, and then the second one was called Omwani Jr., named after Omwani, who had been the first man in our village to go to the university.
A year in the university, and people were already naming children after him. So proud of you, Bobby.
I stayed humble.
Just like any other uncle from Nairobi, Omwami gave each of the twins 50 shillings and told them to be like him when they grow up.
So Wambilianga aka Wambi aka Wams welcomed Omwami into the compound and then told him that he was going to introduce him to the mother of his child.
Omwami was excited. He was going to be introduced to his sister-in-law. Maiwa boy. Wambilianga called out. A soprano came from the kitchen, followed by a shabbily dressed female figure.
When the figure was approaching, Omwami's sensory nerves registered a familiar figure.
Where he met this girl?
Oh, this was his former bae, the ungrateful girl Nanjala. Yes.
What? It's like Wambilianga did not know the rules. Okay. Omwami felt he had left Nanjala to Wambi, but was he supposed to marry him? What happened to bros before hoes, fam?
Sorry, dog.
Although Omwami was disappointed, but wanting to keep the stature of the uncle from Nairobi, he gave each of the twins 50 bob and told them when they grow up, they have to be like him. We gotta chase the bag, bros.
The remaining weeks of the short holiday were the most torturous to Omwami. He was sad and disgusted. He could not keep away the twins who kept nagging him, following him everywhere.
Ango, simyako na games. Ango, na wewe andi hapa kwa wapi? Ango, sunibebe gongo.
Where?
Sasa yani kitu ya kukasirikia Mungu.
Omwami could not take it anymore, no. He made up excuses, traveled to the city to be with Juliet, the love of his life.
Lucky for him, Juliet had not left the city, and she was there to receive him with hugs, kisses, and cuddles.
Julieta, Julieta, uko wapi? Julieta, Julieta, uko wapi? Nakulilia mama Julieta, uko wapi? Hey. Now, Juliet was a city girl raised in the ways of the city and well exposed. Omwami on the other side was a timid village boy with the looks and brains like those of Einstein. They complemented each other. Juliet always taught Omwami the city life, nightclubs, terrific Tuesday, pizza here and there, trips to Malindi. Omwami on the other side was focused. He taught Juliet how to get straight A's, finish her assignments, and stay ahead of the curve. Now, on this particular day, last semester's results had just been posted on the portal, and our power couple had scored straight A's. See, that calls for a celebration. See, it calls for a celebration. They settled on Club Blend in Thika. Upon arrival, of course, they ordered one beer, Yes, they ordered 1 beer, 2 straws. As they were enjoying this romantic moment, a waiter arrived and gave them 4 more beers. Mom was confused. What is happening? Juliet just smiled and said, no, that is the rich uncle from Kasarani. Mommy was surprised even more. You mean people drink with their uncles? I hope my uncles are seeing what other uncles are doing. Beers kept coming to their table. Soon, Juliet excused herself to go to the washroom. Mommy wanted to follow her, but when he stood up, 2 more beers came. He was confused. In fact, it seemed like the more he wanted to go and look for Juliet, more beers kept coming to the table. The more he wanted to go and look for Juliet, he was distracted with more beers coming to the table. Soon, beers stopped coming, and Juliet was not receiving. Now, Mommy was alarmed. He decided he wanted to go and look for Juliet. Looked for her near the counter, in the DJ's booth, checked in the balcony, ladies' washroom, gentlemen's washroom. She was nowhere to be seen. Mommy decided to check just one last place. If she's not there, then he will completely be heartbroken. He decided to go and check outside the club. Upon arrival at the club's parking lot, he was met with a sight that he will never ever forget. There she was, hand in hand with the rich uncle from Kasarani. And they were kissing. His lover, his baby, was seated on the uncle's Mercedes. Mercedes! Omwami could not stand the sight. He sat down. He felt tears cascading down his tomato cheeks. He was shaking like a chameleon on a frail twig. His legs were failing him. He could not control himself from crying. Through his balancing tears, he saw the figure of the rich uncle from Kasarani arriving, handing him 500 shilling notes and telling him, buy more beers, cousin ya Juliet. Aye, cousin? So, if this is Juliet's uncle, and Omwami is Juliet's cousin, does it mean these 2 gentlemen are related? With this thought, Omwami cried even more. He felt the world spinning around him. He felt his vision becoming blurry. His legs were wobbly. It was all dawning on him. All the weekends Juliet had spent with the rich uncle from Kasarani. All the leftover pizza, expensive liquor, expensive cologne, the money they had used to get themselves matching kitenges, the money they had used to get an expensive bedsitter at Gate C. It was now all dawning on him. All this while, Omwami had been in Nairobi's most discreet love triangle. He had been in Nairobi's most secretive threesome. When Omwami came to his senses, he had walked all the way from Thika to Waitevye, just past Mangu. Before he could get a matatu and go to his place in Juja, the owners of the town saw him. isolated him, massaged him violently, took away his clothes, took away his shoes, took away his phone, the painful 500 shilling note by the roadside, and decided to rethink his life again. He was confused and bewildered. What was going on? Before he could think of anything stupid, the boys in blue bearing the utumishi kwa wote badge arrived from Juja police station. For the very first time, the local Mwananchi was happy to see a policeman. For the very first time, the government was here to rescue the local Mwananchi. Of course, after the usual, wewe ni wapi, unatoka nani, simama kama umekaa chini, wapi kitambulisho, ID, birth certificate ya mzazi. The man was loaded on the government-issued Land Cruiser and taken to Juja police station, where he was afforded breakfast and bed. No, scratch that. He was given a floor and porridge the following day. The following day, the university security came, identified the man, and went back to his bed-sitter at Gate C.
He decided that he would do what he had brought him to the university, get a degree and forget about the women. He decided that he would focus on academics. To him, it was only through academic excellence that he would get the resources to keep a woman.
Ladies and gentlemen, Omwami secured an attachment at Kengen Limited, a place where he was praised for his work and efficiency. His bosses loved him and they promised him a job after his studies.
Of course, in his lawyer handsomeness, very many girls, fellow interns and attachés were attracted to him. But the man refused their advances. He had closed his heart to women forever, and now he was focused with only one aim in life: finish his degree and get money.
Although Omwami rejected many advances from many women, he noticed a very unique lady. Her name was Chep Kemboi, favorably named Chep.
Chep Kemboi, favorite as Chep, was posted to the business development department of the company. She was a third-year BBIT student, Bachelor of Business Information Technology at, guess the institution, JWAT.
Ladies and gentlemen, Omwami realized that Chep was a friendly woman and she was easily approachable. She had an interesting insight to life. She did not lack material things or money, no. In fact, she always carried packed lunch and had a modest sense of fashion.
That is how they spent lots and lots of lunch hours under a mango tree in the company's compound. Chep empathized and sympathized with Omwami's past situation, and she was very understanding about his struggles in life.
Soon the internship was over, and Omwami and Chep promised to link up the following semester, and touch base.
Next semester, everything went according to plan. They linked up
and touch base.
In Chep, Omwami found a woman he would have mature conversations with. A woman that they could talk business.
We don't really know what Chep saw or found in Omwami, but Chep was happy. If Chep is happy, Omwami is happy. Of importance is happiness, or is it not?
Yes.
Yes.
Omwami learned a lot of skills from this lady, ranging from business skills, social skills, networking skills. This lady even knew how to have fun like an adult.
How did that look like?
They went for picnics. In fact, for the first time in his life, Omwami went for a hike in Warm Hills. Things that he had only seen on posters.
Well, we can neither confirm nor deny if anything happened on the naked front.
But they were happy.
If Chep is happy,
Omwami is happy.
of importance is happiness, or is it not?
They were together for 2 years, and not a day passed in those 2 years that Omwami did not think of spending the rest of his life with Chep.
Now, when it came to spending the rest of his life with Chep, Omwami was not really sure how he was going to propose to Chep. You see, where we come from, there are only 2 ways of proposing. Number 1, you introduce a girl to your mother likes her, you fry, and then you marry each other.
Number 2, and this one was invented in 1800 BC. It has worked for years. Even this year, there are people who have used it and others are planning to use it. You impregnate the girl, then you accept and marry her.
Now, impregnating Chep needed a lot of technicalities. Mommy had to come up with something. He had to think. Then he found himself with a very brilliant idea.
3 months from that thought would be a day where all villagers from the combined villages of Sitomo and Sarakan would be gathered in Nairobi and entourage led by his mother, Mai Petronila, to come to JWAT for graduation. A man calculated a genius move that would kill 2 stones using 1 bird.
For those 3 months, Omwami was in his best behavior, treating Chep like the queen that she is, braving the dust of Gashororo to get her premium food from Gate B, helping her follow up her missing marks, and making sure that she is generally comfortable.
1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and the day he was finally here, Omwami had earned himself a seat at the big table of academia. He was now rolling with the big boys with the degrees. Everyone was happy because this was a great moment for the son of the soil. People traveled from all over the country to come and witness their sons and daughters being given the powers to read and write.
Omwami was among the graduates of that year in the 27th congregation for conferment of degrees, honors, and doctorates at the university graduation pavilion.
Even us from the combined villages of Sitigo and Sarakan who are not left behind, we chartered the services of Buvumilivu Green Line safaris to pick us and drop us in Juja because we were going to party.
Ladies and gentlemen, the day was finally here, and he knew this was the day with the potential of changing his life completely. On the D-Day, the graduation ceremony was a little bit too long. But he checked to see if Chep was there.
And she was there, looking all radiant with a good smile. That graduation gown had fitted her perfectly. He was going to bag her after graduation. Ladies and gentlemen, Chep had whispered to him that his family would be at the far end of the rugby pitch. All he had to do was to go there and greet them. Now, back to this picture. A Kalenjin girl inviting you to where her family is. We are winning this one. Ladies and gentlemen, while we, the villagers from the combined villages of Sitigo and Sarakan, were waiting for that man so that food is served. The man had other plans. He was going to win when a woman over there introduced Manisafi kutoka Kericho to us to embarrass us and make his mother proud. But there was food. What could we do?
When Omwami approached Chef's family, his heart raced.
This was the moment.
This was it. This was the day he becomes the man he had always hoped to be. This was the day he opens his heart to the woman he has always desired.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Everything. The biggest thing you will get was maybe a no. But has a no ever killed a man? How many times have you been told no? Are you there?
And if I told a no can kill a man?
If we die, we die. After all, something must kill a man.
When Chef saw Omwami from a distance, she rushed towards him
and afforded him the tightest hug he has ever been afforded. Do you have the first picture? Now paint this second one. A Canadian girl hugging you in front of her whole family. This thing Omwami had taken, this bet was inside.
Now, after that, Chip went ahead and introduced Omwami to her family, and they were very happy. In fact, they thanked Omwami for always being supportive and being a good friend to their daughter all through her academic journey in JKUAT.
Picture number 3, a girl who has hugged you in front of her parents.
A Kalenjin girl.
For that fact.
Like that one there.
And now, she has introduced you to her parents, and her parents are happy to see you.
Watching him, Omwami realized that he was a fine Kalenjin young man, complete with a giant, a suit, white Reeboks, and a Toyota Hilux double cabin parked there. Now, from rumors that we have heard, Jose, rumors from Kalenjin land tell us that if you want to get yourself a Kalenjin card, like the one you're sitting with, you must first go through the brother. Now, all Omwami had to do was convince this brother, and soon he will be a happily ever married man.
Now this is the situation. Omwami there, planning words of convincing. Convincing words in his brain, because here was what lay between him and his future wife. He prayed to his ancestors that his throat will not dry when he is given a chance to address this young man. He cleared his throat, adjusted his gown. He was ready to talk, ready to say things. At that very moment, Chef proceeded to introduce the young man. He said, and lastly, this one here is my husband.
What? Excusez-moi, s'il vous plaît, mademoiselle.
Chef, not understanding the rhetoric and the French in that question, proceeded to explain that this was her husband. They had been married before she came to campus, and he has actually been paying her fee. In the coming, in the going, in the chabarba. Hey, no people!
Well, the gentleman extended his hand to greet Omwami, shook his hand violently up and down sideways, then pressed it a little bit and looked into his eyes, as if to tell him, she is mine, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, we proceeded to have the dullest graduation celebration we have ever had. Something that had not been worth sitting in a bus for 12 hours. Hey, we have been to better funerals, Bwana. Thank God they had already spent money and the food was here. And also, as you know, we are blessed with an appetite. Otherwise, we would have left that place breakfast.
Now, from this story, we learned one very important lesson.
Whatever you are going through, ladies and gentlemen, whatever is going on in your life, please eat fast.
You see, Lydia, when your girl texts you and tells you we need to talk, my brother, before you talk, eat fast. Because it is better to sleep with a broken heart and a full stomach than a broken stomach and an empty heart.
When a bad thing happens, a good one will happen. They said, when one door closes, another one will open. If it does not open, a window will open. If the window does not open, something will just open. Omwami decided that this will be his past now. He wanted to make new gains and forget the past. Talking about new gains, Omwami was among the 1% of Kenyan graduates to secure employment. You know, following his exemplary work as an intern at Kengen, the man was given the job as promised. Lucky for him, Kengen was starting a project to harness hydroelectric power at Sonde Miriu River in Western Province. And he was among the entry-level engineers to be given this job. As expected, this job put Omwami inside the oil, literally. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who had been living on under $1 a day was now earning a paltry $2,000 USD at the current exchange rate per month. This raised his ego, his self-esteem, his libido, and anything that can raise. Money was here now. Omwami decided to forget everything that his mother had taught him. In fact, he now understood why his father does what he does. Love had done nothing but bring him pain, suffering, turmoil, and tribulation. In fact, he narrowed down to all the suffering, the suffering of his life to two things. Number one, his quest to provide love to stubborn women, and number two, the promise he had made to his mother. Poor people will tell you that money does not buy happiness. They don't know where to shop. Pastors will tell you that money is the root of all evil. But Omwami discovered that money was the foundation of all good. And that's how, with the first salary, the man rented himself an apartment, a very posh apartment in an upmarket leafy suburb, and then proceeded to furnish it with necessary and unnecessary household items. By his second salary, the man had done this thing. He bought himself a WRX Subaru Impreza, then fitted it with a loud exhaust as his signature in the neighborhood. You hear a car with a big exhaust, you know Omwami has arrived. By his third salary, Omwami had now discovered alcohol and alcoholic beverages. The man turned into a local tourist. Monday flies to Lamu. Friday flies to Watamu. The other day flies to Malindi. In fact, if there is a local destination that someone can fly to, Just tell him he will fly.
The man was now chilling with the big boys in West End, spending money.
You guys
Our boy became a chicks man. Certified lover boy like the husband. And he was back to social media. He will post lunch at Fugu Gaucho.
Dinner at Nairobi Street Kitchen. Back of Nairobi. And then that's he would go to CJ's, Sarah's family, you know, somewhere expensive. The man developed a taste for all the expensive things of this world, ranging from cars, shoes, suits, and of course women.
Hey, speaking of women, she also. If your mommy looked at your husband twice, you will be single, lost, and singing those love songs to other people. My friend, you will become a motivational speaker.
You will become an ardent follower of Amerix and his masculinity, which is based on 4 main pillars. Number 1, maintain your frame. Number 2, shower cold water. Amerix is that. Number 3, sleep on the floor. Number 4, incident. Sign your bones.
Omwami became a man who was indiscriminately promiscuous. The man who would leave a woman, a very beautiful one for that fact, in his apartment in Nairobi, fly to Mombasa to be with another one in Bamburi, then pick another one on the SGR back, have her at Syokimau in an Airbnb, then go back home looking all humble. Tell the one she had left in the house that he was having a bad day and he needed nothing.
Mommy discovered that money is not the root of all evil. No. In fact, he discovered that money can buy you visa to a very special place.
That money could buy you visa to Thailand, the land of all sweetness. And if sweetness was going to kill him, so be it. After all, if we die, we die. Something must kill a man. One was surprised that he had a hard time finding and keeping women. And now all he had to do was present himself and women will come rushing towards him.
Mwami was the center of many cat fights in Nairobi, ladies and gentlemen. In one instance, when ladies were fighting over him, Mwami just stood there observing and then declared,
it is even said that in some incidences, women would opt for a handshake or a coalition, where all of them will just let Omwami and coexist peacefully. After all, he could afford them both.
They will be hard telling each other, sis, I am not the enemy. Imagine, no?
The enemy is poverty.
Please. Well, Omwami was a man with money and riches. To him, money was not the problem. No, the problem was that he had to work for it from 8 to 5.
Even though his expenditure, looked at carefully, was way above his salary. If you ask him where he got the extra money, the man will tell you, bro, God.
The man was a true description of the life of the party. He was the expert at spanking the bottle's bottom and declaring the bar open.
This was a man whose name was known. 3 names, in fact, were very well known by all managers of all high-end clubs. This was a man who would walk into a club. If someone called him Omwami, here I am, Billy. If someone called him Kiongozi, I talk to him. If someone called him Mwanawe, you will pull him bring him on his table and drown him in alcohol.
Omwami will start his raves in West T. Throw his buddies a couple of bottles at Milan. Get to 1824 just in time for some Amapiano vibes. And then finish his night at the tunnel where he will explore a few tunnels.
Back in the village, Omwami was the king of the village, the epitome of success, the spender of spenders. Village circumcision soloists gathered at the banks of River and formed songs that will praise him from morning to evening, telling him, Omwami what he must do.
That had been the mother of all parties, aka Sherehe Sheria, aka Tamasha Mjini. Omwami woke up with a very chronic headache. It was as if someone was pounding his head with a sledgehammer.
All over his sitting room were left over beers, left over food, brass panties, I don't know belonging to who, and his phone was ringing constantly and he was in no mood to pick calls.
He checked his phone and saw there were 3 messages telling him to check Twitter. He logged in reluctantly, and boy was he trending at #1. Why? Apparently, he had sexually assaulted and or raped a certain lady who had gone to Twitter and explained the whole story via a thread, stroke by stroke.
Ladies and gentlemen, the P34 police report, purported evidence, certificate of medical examination, and all other things that could be posted were posted on Twitter for anyone who cared to scroll.
Omwami was on trial on the court of public opinion. He was trending at #1 alongside the hashtags End GBV, No Means No, End Rape Culture. She's a person.
Me too. Ladies and gentlemen, earlier I told you that Omwami was indiscriminately promiscuous. But on this one, he swore on his grandmother's sitwell that he did not remember a thing. He did not remember this thing happening. He did not remember the guy. He did not know her. He had even never met her.
Now, something lied to Omwami that he can take these thoughts, turn them into words, and tweet them. Hey! The feminist feminazi mujahidins on Twitter identified Omwami, isolated him, chopped him into small pieces, and fried him in his own oil.
Even pleased by the likes of C.S. Nyakuli, the boy child's advocate, and Rukimbe, and even Miguna would not let him tell his story because the female Twitter mujahideen had decided that he is an abuser once and for all, no changing the opinion.
After this Twitter outburst, there came a series of events that will completely change the life of this promising young engineer.
First, people wrote and tweeted, then tagged his employer, demanding that Omwami be sacked with immediate effect. And Boychild, you know how it goes. Omwami was suspended indefinitely, pending investigations.
Secondly, he was publicly arrested and his photo taken and opulently displayed on all the DCI social media pages online, followed by a basic class 6 composition. Our sleuths pounced on a young man who deemed it fit to unload his libido in a reluctant damsel.
Now, the third event, activists from all over Nairobi gathered at Nairobi's Uhuru Park, lit candles and held posters and banners commemorating the lives of victims of gender-based violence. Lawyers came together and decided that they would defend the lady pro bono. A Bible was even started and people contributed generously.
Now, Omwami was arrested and charged, and terms of his release discussed, which was a little bit unusual, but given that he was a first-time offender, the judge was a little bit lenient on him. There were talks of an outside-of-court settlement, but the state insisted that this case, this particular case, has to be argued to its conclusive end.
And that is how poverty visited Omwami. The man had no cash. The court declared that he has to part with the cash bond of 1 million and a surety of the same amount. Now, since he had not saved anything, he had blown it on alcohol and women. His properties, including household goods and his beloved Subaru Impreza, were to be auctioned for those amounts to be raised.
Omwami became an overnight pauper. He lost his job, lost his savings, lost his dignity. His reputation was down in the drains. No one wanted to associate with him.
They say east or west. Western is the best. Yes.
In the serene, green environment, he went to seek refuge away from the hustle and the bustle of the great city of Nairobi, full of betrayal. He was sure he will be welcome. After all, they say, "Eshenyu ne eshenyu, kata ne shiunya." Yours is yours, even if it stinks.
Welcome where? Which village? When Omwami landed in Sirakaru, he discovered that he was the latest subject of gossip and rumor mongering.
He discovered that his family, both extended and nuclear, were enduring mockery left, right, and center. All manners of rumors and speculations were being peddled around like that herb from Jamaica.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, in the market, there was a rumor that Omwami had messed with the daughter of a big person. And that man had sworn to finish him completely. I am telling you, completely. Me, you know, sure.
See, those of us who went to Omwami's graduation while eating at a Sunset Bar Hotel and Restaurant, we heard people saying that they were sure Omwami, as usual, has invested in women and put himself second.
That can't be true. There was also this woman in the China days. Omwami had involved himself in wash.
Hey!
Now he was in the village to hide from law enforcement. Indian Ocean.
Hey. Come. See, there's another rumor that Omwami has got the big disease and he's here to seek traditional healing.
His grandmother said that a villager with a black hat looked at him with bad eyes. Now they were planning to slaughter on his grandfather's grave to bring money back. No.
Marco.
I'm telling you.
Are you for real?
I am for real,
Now, amidst all these rumors and speculations, Omwami chose to focus on himself entirely. In fact, he took leftover cement, made himself weights, and made himself a makeshift gym to work out while following up with proceedings at Milimani Court.
once again, Omwami swore that he was done with the women completely. This time he was not going back on his word. His word was his bond. No women from now onwards.
The man's routine was limited to waking up, going to the shamba, eating, morning run, gym, eating, gym, repeat.
He even discovered that this American thing is not bad after all.
In fact, the man graduated and reduced from 4 P's that are, you guys know them: protect, provide, precede, and penetrate, and reduced them to 3 C's, 3 P's: physical workout, proper diet, and proper rest.
And now he swore that he will die for any other reason except women.
Omwami swore that he would rather be taken out by a sniper or a firing squad, just like any other real man would do, than to be taken out by a woman.
But let his reason not to die not be women. If we die, we die. Okay, something must kill a man, but let not that thing not be women. One swore and swore on his grandfather's grave. Oh. Now
He was tired.
One day during his routine walks, Omwami witnessed a spectacle. This thing scientists tell us, a living organism in its natural habitat. While walking in the parts of the village, across the fence, Omwami saw a lady. The ones that you people in Nairobi call kienyeji. The girl was coming from the bathroom and she was wearing a lasso from somewhere up here to somewhere just a little bit. Then she had not wiped her body. So the body was pulling the lasso towards it, leaving everything else to imagination. Omwami was amazed, looked at the spectacle. He remembered that he was Americ's follower on Twitter. He apologized in advance. Master, I know I follow you on Twitter, but on the ground, things are different here. For those of you who grew up in the village, you are familiar with this pedicure stone that we put outside the bathroom. This one that we used to fight cracks in the hills. Now this girl was using that stone. She was causing a mini earthquake behind her. Hey, Omwami's blood was rushing in his veins like Kipchoge in Vienna. His heart was beating like drums of African Divine Church of Masala. He found himself pocketing involuntarily. The girl noticed him noticing her. When the girl looked at him, Omwami wanted to pretend like he was not looking at her. But the girl just said, Mambo. Omwami had no words to answer. He went home. Before he could realize that he was thinking with that other head, Omwami did not sleep. He was moving from this side of the bed to the other, thinking about that woman. It was now that he realized the drought that had beaten him. Next day, he sought to find out who the girl is. He was told that the girl is Magdalene Nassam, aka Magda. She was the daughter of the chairman of UKUMBI. But one challenge, she did not have a phone. Now, this prompted Omwami to activate the book of village boy seductions in the principles of village romance. I know people who grew up at home like Smolo know these things. But let me Chanua Gashoya here with a This is how it goes. First, you have to survey the homestead where the girl lives. You have to geomap the compound. You should know which house is used for which purpose, so that you don't come to visit one night, then you knock on her father's door. You must know if there are any holes on the fence to use as an escape route when things bite each other. You should also know if they have dogs and if they are normal dogs or mbwakali. Number two, you must have someone to pass information to the inside. Now, normally, you befriend her younger sister or a friendly aunt or a cousin, sometimes nephews or nieces. If there is no one in the inside, you formulate your own person. You bribe your cousin or smaller sister, bribe her, so that she befriends that girl. Now when she goes to visit for gossip, also your letter passes. Another thing that you should do is that you should have a sufficient radar committee. These are your female relatives, especially your grandmother, your aunt, those ones who want you to marry early. Whenever that girl is in any social setting, their work is to talk good things about you. Good things only. When she is at the chama, they just talk good things only. When she's at the market, when they see her, they just talk good things only about you. Another thing you should know is her schedule, especially those schedules that put her away from her father's compound, because this is when you attack. This is when you deliver the lines. This is what determines if you will get the girl or not. Then also you should have a small budget to fund this operation. Because you must bribe your emissaries, send them with a few presents, and also very important, you should be able to afford omena when you are visiting her at night. You feed their dogs so that they remain. Now, you should look out for villagers, those people of the mouth. Hey, when you just declare interest in a girl, they start telling you bad things about her. The people she has dated, the children she has aborted. I don't know this, I don't know that. When you had no interest, she was just a good girl. You declare interest, she becomes bad all of a sudden. And that is the book of village boy seduction techniques. In fact, there's a song for that book. It is called Flora.
Our boy was in love. Again, village pathways were graced with these two lovebirds whispering sweet nothing into each other's ears. Time and again they'll be seen plucking lantana leaves just to hide their shyness. And it is also whispered that they visited the green lodges. But that is a story for another day.
Despite the bad things that people were talking in the village about Magda, Omwami discovered that she was a formidable lady. A lady whom every man would want to have. This was a lady who, when she visited, she would sweep the compound, cook for Omwami's mother, plait his younger sister's hair before going. We will not talk about the things they did when they were alone because we are told the show is going, time has gone. Now,
so the story of Omwami and Magda replaced the disgracing story of Omwami in the city, in the gossip circles of the village. The KRC, Kamati ya Roho Chafu, teamed up with MT, Mtaachana 2 Association, and together they formed a joint gossip committee that saw it to be the epic times of Udaku in the village.
Despite all this, Omwami found support in Magda. She was his pillar of strength as he was facing his court at Milimani Law Courts. This of course earned him trips to Nairobi when Omwami was required to attend the hearings physically. And bloggers who had missed him in the Nairobi scene had a new story to write. Omwami na kienyeji fulani.
Now, Omwami received a notification from the High Court sitting at Milimani, and he was required to present himself physically or not to hear the ruling of his case. His lawyers told him that the ruling of this case will decide whether he is a free man or is going to be jailed forever.
Now, Magda being his pillar of strength in this situation, he wanted to go and inform her so that if she accepts, he will carry her to Nairobi, see her for one last time before going to jail, or if he was going to be set free, return with her triumphantly to the village and marry her. Omwami had decided that it was a time to settle, and to settle was to settle with Magda. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the hill that Omwami had chosen to die on. Something must kill a man. This time, if we die, we die.
Ladies and gentlemen, after nearing a junction that was just a bend closer to Magda's place, Omwami realized that there was a banana sucker plantation.
There was a banana sucker planted on the junction to Magda's homestead. Where we come from, this is supposed to tell the visitors where to cut the corner towards a homestead where there is a celebration.
Now, which celebration? Because as per the last meeting with Magda, she did not mention anything to do with a celebration. What was going on? Anyway,
Omwami said he will not be thinned by what is not his. He proceeded with his mission. The secret here is to focus. When he arrived at Magda's compound, over the fence, he saw that the compound was a beehive of activities. There was a makeshift kitchen cooking chicken. There were heavy cars parked in the compound. There were women dancing around the compound singing Mwanambe. What was happening here?
Omwami went to look for his emissary, Magda's youngest sister, to find out what was really happening here. The girl came around all jumpy and happy and told him that Magda had a child in her early dating spree in Form 2, and now the child was living with the father's family, and now the family has brought the child back to see Magda. There's a celebration because the man who made Magda pregnant is an Army-Lance corporal, and he has had 4 successful years of defending the nation deep in Somalia, and now he has come back to show the people that he is alive.
So the father of the child has come back to bring the child.
to then bring the child and also show that he is alive from Somalia.
Why are people celebrating? I still don't get it.
You see, the man got a lot of money from Somali, and now he's here to pay dowry and marry Magda, who is the mother of his child.
Marry Magda?
Yes.
Has Magda accepted?
Oh, you're serious? Oh. Have you seen the cars? Have you seen the 100,000 Kenyan shillings? Have you seen the cows? Have you seen the matching kitenge? Have you seen the makeshift kitchen cooking chicken? And with this, she danced off and went to join the celebration after all. Who wouldn't?
Owami was both amused and disgusted at the same time. What was happening here?
Is this a trend?
Is there some kind of sabotage being run here?
Why do bad things keep happening to good people?
Owami was good people, right?
Yes.
Hey. Owami was eating ales, left, right, and center. The man had been beaten at half-time, full-time, and extra time. He had been walloped a good one in the city and at home. He had been snatched, broiler and kienyeji. Hey!
One will not he joined the village circumcision soloist. Can you relax? This is an entertainment show. We have good news for you. You see, the court has decided not to castigate Omwami, lacking enough evidence that has been presented to the court.
Apparently, independent examinations by independent doctors proved that there was no evidence of forceful penetration. A fact in evidence that the lawyers defending the lady were using to have Omwami jailed. And with this, the court threw out the case on a technicality, which means that Omwami was now a free man. Good news, right? Omwami was refunded his monies that he had deposited for bail and surety, and he was back in the oil like he has never left.
With this, Omwami chartered a private jet all the way to Malindi so that he can unwind and think about the next step in life.
On the beaches of Malindi, Omwami thought, recalculated, took out a drawing board and wanted to know why his life was going the way it was going, even after following his mother's advice.
After reminiscing and thinking about it, thinking about his life, all the character development that he had been afforded, starting with Nanjaga. And then came Chepkeboy. And came Juliet. And then came Chepkeboy. And then all the women that he had partied with, including those that had sued him.
Those witches.
And now, Magda. And then he realized that he was performing another person's item.
Omwami realized that whatever was wrong with his life was that he was performing another person's script with their conditions and injunctions. Now, he had graduated from the Kenya Institute of Character Development with a higher national diploma. And he intended to use his diploma to the fullest.
Mwami is sending a very stern warning to all the women who had dealt in character development, and even those who are just planning to deal in character development. He is telling them that he will find them, isolate them, and then give them small doses of character development for a very long time.